I'm not surprised. You mentioned this earlier that you've had a lot of interactions on social media since last night.
Yeah.
Basically saying people have, as my mom used to say, had it up to here.
Yeah.
Whenever you heard my mom say that, things were about to take a turn. You're about to get sent to your room, grounded. Something was about to come down when she looked at you and said, I've had it up to here. That means my well is full. I got no more room for any of your crap. And therefore, we're done here and you're punished. And I think that that's where a lot of people are with regard to Draymond Green. They've had it up to here.
Yeah, and I saw a lot on my social media, people using the phrase, I'm done. I'm done with Draymond. And, the Warriors should ... with Draymond. And the Warriors should suspend Draymond for the entire year without pay. The Warriors should trade Draymond. I'm done with Draymond and all the rest of it. And I hear that, and it's emotional, and it makes sense in the moment because this is 4 weeks removed from Rudy Gobert and a choke and a 5-game suspension, and he punched Jordan Poole and he stomped on Sabonis. And how much of this can a Warrior fan really tolerate and still want to be a Warrior fan? But the practical part of it is, well, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah.
And by then, the Warriors, Mike Dunleavy and Steve Kerr, what are they supposed to do? If they think Draymond Green is a winning player, and he has been, and he probably still is, if this team is going to win, you need Draymond. Well, they might not win anyway. But taking the premise of, if you're going to win, you need Draymond. And I believe that's the case for this team. So if that's the premise that you believe in, what do you do? Because you need Draymond, but Draymond can't keep himself on the court most of the time.
Is this a wild idea? Because I feel like you and I should have something here as far as a firm answer. I don't think they should trade Draymond. I don't know what's out there. I think you're asking for serious pennies on the dollar if you do it. And quite frankly, you'd have a hard time getting somebody to agree in that he's got over 3.5 years left on that contract. I agree with you. This is still a winning player. However, what I don't think you can do anymore is this. I don't think that you can continue to turn a blind eye and empower this, because we have finally reached the spot, and this is where I've always tried to get to. I get if somebody's emotionally annoyed with Draymond.
Right.
If you're just like, I don't like what he does. Okay, fine. Sorry. It helps the Warriors. He's a winning player. They're a winning team. So what are you going to do about it? Deal with it was kind of my response for years. But now we've reached a spot where it's not that. So if we spill over to the other side of the fence and agree that this is now hurting the Warriors, a team that has nowhere near as much wiggle room, needs its top players on the court, and the guy just cannot stay on the court, well, now you're in the other direction. So this is hurting the team. However, if you're the team, you've got 3+ more years of him, and while I know everyone wants the team to stand up to him, you do have to navigate that relationship still long term. And Steve Kerr can't, quote, lose the players, right?
Right.
If I'm the Warriors, I might go the opposite direction of what you usually do. Time to zag instead of zigging. I'd call the league office, and I'd ask them to make it even longer than what they're thinking.
Wow. What if that gets out?
It won't. You won't.
It might.
It won't.
I like what you're saying. I want to hear more on this.
Okay. He needs to
Hey, Dumars.
Yeah.
It's Dunleavy.
Mm-hmm.
I know you're thinking about maybe 6 or 7. Let's make it 20.
Let's go 15 or 20.
Let's make it 20. My guy Willard's got a bet on 20 plus.
No.
Plus 500.
Something needs to shake the branches. And even though Draymond, I also firmly believe this about all humans, all people, because man, a lot of us are stubborn. I am too. A lot of stubborn, and Draymond is stubborn. But Draymond will sit there and say at every press conference, I'm never going to change. And by the way, Draymond, we believe you. We really do. We believe that you're never going to change. But I don't even think what you're asking for here is change. You're just asking for a tweak. You're asking for a tiny bit more restraint. Because if you don't, you simply can't stay on the floor. So the Warriors in this case, I think, should be activated by, look, we're 10-13. If you're going to miss 7 games, we're kind of up a creek already. So, make it 15. If you think that this will be so dramatic to Draymond that he will finally go, okay, I got it.
Right.
And I know that sounds ridiculous. Maybe he never will. But you got to go down trying, right? Because if you're just going to shrug your shoulders and go, well, there's no getting to him. Well, if there's no getting to him, then you just reached the start of a new 4-year deal where you signed a player to a lot of money who's going to do more harm than good.
You've already tried the there's no getting to him approach when he punched Jordan Poole, and you didn't suspend him. He got no suspension. He got a couple of days off from practice, and he came back for ring night, and all was good. And Draymond Green, took him some time to get his voice back, Mark. He didn't have his voice until about January, but, we had reports from Jordan Poole's side that he never apologized to Jordan Poole.
Yep. Jordan
says he never made good on it, and yet last night, Draymond Green, within hours of, punching or socking or smashing or whatever you want to call it, what he did to Yusuf Nurkic, he apologized in a press conference. And I'm not sure if he actually went to Nurkic himself and apologized, but he never apologized to Jordan Poole. So maybe Draymond Green, maybe he's learned his lesson this time, Mark. Maybe he's learned, darn it, maybe this is the time where he's learned his lesson.
But this is different to me. I know everybody wants to draw back to the Jordan Poole situation, and we're never going to get critical mass on that. We just aren't. I'm never going to say Jordan deserved it, but I am going to firmly believe, to my core, that all the evidence is there that people were really upset with Jordan about something.
Sure.
Did
Nurkic deserve it last night?
No, that's my point. Okay. This is different.
Yeah.
The Jordan Poole thing is one thing, and yes, we can have had that conversation.
We have?
This is the stuff that's going on in the 48 minutes where you're playing basketball. And if you've reached a point in your life, and this is my belief of the Golden State Warriors right now, it's not just Draymond. The organization has been overwhelmed by frustration. And I can only guess that is largely because they're getting older. You can't do what you used to be able to do, yet you still believe that you can do what you used to be able to do. And so while the rest of the league now is starting to run circles around you, instead of adjusting, instead of evolving, or just going with grace, that's not the way this works. You get really, really mad, and you start to buck. And so that is yelling at a coach when you're left out of the closing 5, or physically assaulting people on the court, or throwing mouthpieces, or walking off the court in the middle of a play, or holding up 4 fingers to an opponent to let them know that we used to be good, or just leaving and going AWOL entirely. All of these things have happened this calendar year.
Yeah, wow.
In 2023. Yet this team then finishes these games and runs to press conferences to tell us that everything's fine and they're still going to win a championship. It's like, look at you guys. I'm not here to tell you you can't and you won't. That's not my style. I'm telling you what I am seeing. You look like you're bubbling over with frustration and can't handle it anymore. That's what it looks like to me.
Right.
And this is Draymond's version of that.
And Draymond's version has been this way even before he got frustrated, quite frankly. He's been frustrated, long before this point of where his skills have deteriorated, I think. He's always been this player where he's lived on the edge, but now we're seeing it in more of a rapid fashion. And I go back to Sabonis last year. That to me was not a frustration situation. That was just pure aggression. That was him acting out and seeing an opponent down and choosing to stomp on Sabonis when he didn't really need to do that. And then this year, the Gobert thing, I do believe that he was trying to rush to his teammates' defense, and he got a hold of a guy who's been a little bit of his rival.
A little bit of both, right?
A little bit of both. I don't think that was frustration. I think that was an opportunity where he jumped in to help a teammate, and he got a hold of a guy who he probably doesn't like, and he took the opportunity to escort him in a certain way. I don't think that was because he's not the same player he used to be.
No, but I'd argue that's acting on years of frustration with Rudy Gobert.
Yeah.
Just a different frustration.
I would use a different word, but I'll allow it in terms of this conversation.
Okay.
Last night, to me, was a whole different level of just blowing your stack for no reason. Because, Nurkic was grabbing him. He was pulling on him. But that was a big, giant nothing burger. That was out on the perimeter. And, Nurkic and he were engaged. And are you telling me that's the way you try to flop and flail to draw a call? That I don't believe. And the fact that he comes out and apologizes right away tells me that Draymond went back in the tunnel and saw the footage and thought, oh, my God, that's way worse than I even thought that it was.
Either he saw the video or he was keenly aware that he's about to get suspended.
Right.
So you find a microphone and go, totally unintentional. My bad. My fault.
Totally. Would you have
damage control?
Fists in the face?
Which won't work.
No.
It won't work.
Especially now, 4 weeks after an incident where you get suspended for 5 games. And hopefully today before 6 o'clock right here on 95.7 The Game, we will get official word from Shams, or it'll be a Woj bomb, or somebody will release the information of what the league will decide. This to me is this is an easier one than the Gobert one. Because the Gobert one, you looked at it and it was a fracas, and you looked at his role and you thought, okay, he jumped in, and Gobert, I thought, should have gotten a game because he grabbed Clay and he didn't get anything, and then Draymond got 5. Draymond probably would have gotten 1 or 2, but it's Draymond, so he gets 5. So last night, that act is probably a 1. It's a 1-gamer, normally. But on the heels of the 5, I think it's going to at least be 7.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Thought 10 would be the number.
Look, we don't know. We don't know. We don't know what it's going to be. But
we don't.
That's that would be my prediction as well, that it is now less about the act and it's much more about the actor. And I think that's the way the NBA is going to play this. 888-957-9570. If you missed what Draymond had to say after the game when he got to the microphone, we'll have that for you coming up in about a half hour, okay? But until then, let's keep taking your calls. If you're a Warrior fan, what do you want him to do? What would you like the team to do here? Mike and Hayward on Willard and Dibs. Hey, Mike, what's up?
Yeah, how you guys doing? I agree with you, man. The team should suspend him, man. It's an embarrassment for the league and the fans and the players, but they not holding him accountable and they letting the league do it, right? As long as the league don't say this, that. The guy got emotional powers. He got issues. So the team should stop pussyfooting with him and suspend him, right? That's what they should do. And then he might get the message. But see, they worried about the relationship with him. He's like a wife. You guys separate from for a while, right? And hopefully you get back together. That's how I look at it.
Well, Mike, I hear what you're saying. This just me. The issue with that, because I emotionally have no issue with what you're saying, but Steph Curry might, and we cannot take him out of this conversation. Whenever I see someone, and there was a lot of this last night. Wow, 4 years and $100 million.
Woo.
What the hell were the Warriors doing? Well, I'll tell you what they were doing. They're doing what Steph Curry asked them to do. So you've got to understand. We have this conversation a lot, and in my opinion, you got to understand the situation the team is in, and it's not that easy to just be like, just drop the hammer, just be mad at him, and poof, that's it. Well, that's your emotional reaction to his emotional reaction, and what's the long-term play there? So that's not being scared of Draymond Green. That's taking all things into account, and I do think whether you're a team, a boss, a parent, sometimes you need to let the world take care of the consequences, because you taking care of the consequences is going to end up having further negative consequences for you.
For you, exactly, in your relationship. And I liked your analogy you made earlier about being a parent, and this is a case that fits if your kid gets in trouble in school and you want to punish your kid, but sometimes it's better to wait and see what the school does. So, the kid threw a rock and broke the window in the science class, and he got caught, and you're mad, and the school's coming down on him, so you let the kid know you're not happy with him, and you wait. And you bide your time, and the school goes, you know what, you're getting a 2-day suspension. And then it's easier for you to come in and go, okay, 2-day suspension. On top of that, I'm going to go ahead and take your car for 30 days, and you're grounded for a month and, no video games for 3 weeks or whatever it is after that, right? But depending on the action, you go ahead and and this is the case with Draymond now, the team is going to wait and see, and you're going to find out what they do. And I do think it's interesting that Steve Kerr told us on this very program about, I guess it was about 4 weeks ago after the Rudy Gobert, Draymond, he knows he needs to improve and he's working on some things and this and that. And, we're going to help him to try to be better about that anger management.
This is a part of what you're talking about, although I think this is an updated version. I think this is from last night. Yeah, Steve Kerr. I mean, what you just said, he said to us 4 weeks ago. Yeah, he said it again.
Yeah, we need him. We need Draymond. But, he knows that. We've talked to him, and he's got to find a way to keep his poise and be out there for his teammates.
And then he was asked, at what point does Draymond become more of a minus than a plus?
Draymond's still a hell of a player. Still a really good player. So we need him. If we're going to be a really good team, we need him.
Steve Kerr's exhausted too.
Yeah.
I mean, those are the shortest answers he's ever given on this. And you can hear in his tone. You know what I noticed about Steve all year? He's like, do you guys want me to say the same thing that I've been saying again?
Turnovers and fouls.
And Draymond needs to find a way to keep his poise.
Yeah.
The team needs Draymond Green.
But
no wonder he got signed a new contract.
And
I
do
tired
think
of saying the exact same thing over and over, and maybe the team is tired of listening.
And I wish we had Steve on today. We're going to get him on Friday, and I don't know how to ask that question without, because it's not really whatever. It's our business because we're fans of the team. But I don't even know if Steve could or would give an answer to that because what I hear from Steve in all these press conferences, and I hear Steve on with you and I every week, and he sounds tired. And I think about Steve Kerr in a contract year, and the question is, Steve, do you even want to do this anymore? And I
says he does.
Right.
Says he does.
I mean, I wonder if that changes, though, night to night and week to week, because you blow a lead against the Clippers, and Draymond fouls Holmgren. You lose to OKC again on a late game foul, and then you don't beat Phoenix because one of your best players punches the opponent early third quarter, and you just don't have enough talent to win it. I wonder if Steve isn't like looking at this and going, you know what, maybe one more year of the Olympic team, and I'm good, guys. I'm good.
Get on over to youtube.com/957 the game. You can watch us live. We connect and chat with you guys in the chat room during the breaks. Get over to youtube.com/957 the game. I will agree with anyone who says the Warriors need to step in and suspend the guys or the guy if it meant this. Again, what I want right now is for someone to get Draymond's attention. I want this, whatever this punishment is, whether it's from the Warriors, from the league, whatever, I want it to get his attention. I'm not sure that anything can. But that's what I'd root for. So if someone could convince me that it coming from the Warriors instead of the league would help, like, embarrass him into evolution, then I'd be all for it. I just don't know that that's the way that it would go.
It won't go that way.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what would get Draymond to change his way. To me, the answer is nothing because this is Draymond, and he said as much. This is the way I play.
Totally.
You're not going to change me. You're not going to change who I am. This is who I am. This is how I play.
Well, and then I understand where people are coming from. Then the Warriors need to come in and say, well, you're not going to change us. And what we want is players who put their uniforms on and go play basketball. That's what we would like.
Right. And
you know what I mean?
It's so interesting because it all comes down to the one guy if this was ever going to change.
One man.
And it's not Draymond.
No, of course not.
And it's not Dunleavy or Lacob or Steve Kerr. It's Steph Curry.
It would be interesting if Steph had a tirade in Draymond's living room. It'd be interesting. I mean, if that doesn't get his attention, then cut him. Because nothing would.
No, that's it.
Yeah.
And I think that's
so there's
where
your
we
answer.
are.
Then there's your answer.
I think it comes down to that. If Steph says, to Joe or Dunleavy or Steve, I'm done, guys. I'm done. He's traded before morning.
Yeah. But I don't mean that. I mean, and who knows? Maybe this has already happened. We have no idea.
I would bet it has.
Steph, take your 5-iron over to Draymond's house. And hold it to the sky in the living room. I assume he's got high ceilings. He's well paid.
Nice.
Hold that thing up and be like, my man, we are not going out like this, or there won't be a we.
Right.
I doubt that would happen. I don't think that's in Steph's DNA. I don't think that he even feels that way. Or, hell, if I know, maybe it happened last night. I have no idea.
Right.
But on the spectrum of what would get Day-Day to pay attention and react, I don't know. That feels like it'd be pretty high up there. Feels like it'd be pretty high up the list.
Sure. I mean, that might work in the short term, but at the end of days, Draymond Green is going to be Draymond Green.
Yeah,
and he's proven over 12 years that this is the player that he is.